Did you have any relationship with Barbra Streisand?
I met Barbara several times in my career, and I'll tell you how it happened. Herbie Bernstein, who at the time was my manager, he's my musical director now, but for a long time he was musical director and manager. He grew up and played basketball in Brooklyn on Avenue J and Coney Island Avenue with Marty Ehrlichman, who's Barbara's manager. Okay.
Yes.
So these guys, like, were old friends, like, they're still arguing, you know, over who stole the point, you know, like, they're still there. And I'm with Liberace at Caesars at the time. This is the first time I met Barbara. And Herbie and Marty are on the phone. And Marty says, well, when does your show end with Lee? Our shows were a little earlier. So, and we had 2 shows a night. So Herbie says, we get off at blah, blah time. Who can remember? He said, Herbie, listen, it'll be fun. I haven't seen you in 100 years. Bring Julie. I'll save a booth for you. Barbara was at the International, which then I think became the MGM Grand. I wound up playing the International too. That's another story. And he said, I'm going to save you guys a booth. He said, come. He said, we'll spend time after the show. We'll have such a good time, Herbie. So after the show, I tell Lee, I'm going to go see Barbara. Lee gave Barbara her first coming out party in Los Angeles or something. But Lee couldn't come that night. He had a press thing to do. He says, oh, you got to tell her I said hi. Give her a big kiss for me. I will, I will, I will. We go to the show. We see the show. Security comes and gets us before the last bows because we'd never get backstage. It'd be like crazy time. They take us backstage. We go down the elevator, get out of the elevator. Marty's there. Show already ended. Barbara's back in the room already. Opens the door, and Barbara's standing there with Marty. And I go up to Barbara and go, hey, I'm Julie. And I grab her. Hello. And she says, I'm Barbara. And like, we got along. And I said, and there was a big mirror, like the size of the site behind you. And I go, wait a second. So I grab her by the hand. We had so much fun. I grab her by the hand. I take her over to the mirror. I said, okay, look up. She looks up. And I look up. I'm like 16. You know, nothing, right? Nothing. Nothing. She goes, I know. And we were there for the next 3 hours eating potato chips, pretzels, and club soda. Herbie and Marty were still arguing over the point. And me and Barbara are talking about, I don't know, everything girls talk about.
So you had a good time with her.
We had a good time.
And she was lovely to you.
She was great to me.
She has also a very difficult reputation.
I don't know. Everybody with a difficult reputation
gets along with you.
They're okay with me.
Isn't that lovely?
You know why? Because I think that when people sense that, you know, you're kind of the real deal, you really want to be here, and it's really about the love of the music, and it's about the love of connecting with people, and this is the life you really want to have, and you love the arts, and it's not about that you think you're the greatest thing in the world, and it's not about that. It's really, you know, if you didn't pay me, I would still put in the same time. I would still work just as hard, and so would they. And they connect to that, and they get that.
And you're saying that since you're both women, there's no jealousy or envy or...
I can't speak for her, but I can speak for me. And I was having a great old time.
That's wonderful.
Oh, and you know, there were no cell phones in those days. So I said to Barbara, I said, Barbara, can I use your phone? I gotta page my dad. Because my dad was gambling. And I'll tell you something about my dad. He didn't want to be the pushy stage father. Because I asked him, I said, Pop, are you going to join us? He goes, you go do your thing. You know, my father had enough of his own success in his life. He wasn't one of these people that had to live off his daughter. He was like, no, let him gay, fine. I said, where are you going, Pops? He goes, I'm going to play craps. So I called the security guy. I said, could you please page my dad? So they paged him. Finally, Papa gets to the phone. I said, Pop, I'm going to be here a little longer. He goes, take your time. I'm having fun here. I'm up. He said, I'm winning. I said, fine. It was a delightful night. And, you know, when I met her years later, I was working with Elliot Gould in a film, her ex-husband. And years later, I don't know, I kept bumping into her here. I kept bumping into her there. And I would see her. And, you know, people ask me all the time, why do I not have trouble with notorious divas or divos? And, you know, I think it's, like I said, they just sense that I really just love the music. and I'm not out for anything else but that, you know?